This is I Am Deck Speaks, and I'm here, just reminiscing about my life, and I'm thinking about the last really 3.5 years since I hit my rock bottom and tried to end my life because of my addiction to crack cocaine and the misery, the fear, the pain, the turmoil that I was in, that I had left my family in because of just my wayward ways and my sinful nature that was destroying myself. And I wanted nothing more than to die. That's all I saw. In the midst of me being in the dope house, every day I was hoping that it would be my last day, hoping that it would be the day that I would overdose, hoping that it would be the day that I would no longer be in existence, so I wouldn't have to deal with the pain, or I wouldn't be exposed as being this dope fiend, or having to face my wife and look her in the eyes and truly explain to her everything that I had done. It was horrible. So I'm here, I have this journal, and Brianna brought me this when I was in Havenwick Mental Hospital in 2017, and she brought it on August 6, 2017, and she wrote, "My dearest Poppy, use these pages to pour your heart out to our Father and record his heart for you. We don't pray because we need help. We pray because we have help." And I began to use the pen that she brought me in this journal. I began to do what she told me to do, which was to pour my heart out, which was to begin to write. And so I just wanted to share a little bit of the place that I was in and how I wrote my heart out. So, how did I get here? It's hard to believe that at 35 and nearly 12 years of marriage to a woman who I love so much, that I am writing these words from Havenwick Mental Hospital, where I have been for almost 7 days. When I got placed here, I was completely empty, mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially bankrupt. My moral odometer was past E, and I no longer wanted to participate in earthly matters. I wanted nothing more than to die. I knew that me taking my life would result in a tremendous hole and void in many lives, but I just didn't care any longer. If I could silence the shame, guilt, and fear that I was currently feeling, it would be better than life itself. I had been living a lie for many months at this point. It's hard to actually place an exact time or date of when I fell into the trap of the enemy, and I began to transform into a man that I no longer was able to recognize. That was so painful in itself, to look in the mirror and be so disgusted with your image that you do your best to put your best fake face on and continue with life, but living in utter despair. I've always seen myself as a life changer, but someone who has great impact, somebody who has great impact sharing or communicating with people in situations that may be hard or even in happy times. I know God has given me a gift to change lives, not by my might, but only by the Spirit of God who dwells inside of me. How can I know this and still make such bad decisions? How can I wake up so full of hope and change and then do the very thing I said I wouldn't do? I guess you can say that my heart has not been fully devoted or committed to God. How long can I keep up a double life? The word says that you can't serve two masters, and that's exactly what I have tried to do. Serve the Lord through worship and serve Satan with my deceit and the dope. The weight a person carries of a double life can only go so far before you begin to break down mentally. That's where I currently am. I'm so happy now that I pulled the trigger on that gun. The bullet did not enter my head, but somehow became dislodged into a pile of bath towels in our bathtub. The pain and anguish Brianna, Jima, and Mom, Dad E&L, and my dogs would have faced standing at that scene of that gruesome, careless act of selfishness. None of that was on my mind when I pulled the trigger. I just wanted the pain to stop. I even felt more worthless that I wasn't dead, and now I had a group of people who I know love me, calling for me to come out to the living room. My first reaction was anger towards Bree, because I felt she betrayed me by calling people over, but now I realized she didn't know how to navigate this situation. She needed help and support. When you are in the state that I was in, you didn't know what I could have been capable of. I did appreciate the fact that when I did finally take the walk of shame into the living room, not one person asked about the gun. Everyone there just wanted me to know that I was loved and that they were there for me. I have never doubted that I am loved by many, but I just no longer felt lovable. After about 2 hours of talking and praying, everyone left and it was just Bree and I sitting wondering where do we go from here. One of the agreements in all of the drama was I was going to remain at home so I could participate in the upcoming week of church activities, something I had already saw playing out without me being involved because I would have been dead. The Saturday after my attempted suicide felt a little different. I knew that Monday I had to make a life decision, and I was afraid of what would be, but I couldn't help to look outside and see a big blue sky and a 77-degree temperature. So I decided not to wallow in the fact that I was alive, but to go outside and cut the grass. I started my lawnmower and my Pandora radio at the same time and began cutting the yard, listening to Lecrae radio along with some other mixed-in worship. And I started confessing that my life would indeed get better, despite the financial hardship I had buried us in. Bree keeps saying there is another side to the situation, and I began to believe it in smaller and smaller increments. How could I go on? I kept asking myself. 1 hour at a time is what I came up with. By the time I had finished cutting the yard, Bree pulled up, happy and full of joy at the thought that I was able to pull my majorly depressed soul out of bed to do anything. We decided to go out on that Saturday. I had some sort of normality for once in a long time. We never made it to the museum that we planned on going to. We ended up paying a visit to a roadside barbecue in Detroit and getting some good burgers and mac and cheese, and decided to go home and binge watch some shows. It felt great. To think 24 hours before, I pictured Bree's life flipped upside down because of my suicide. And now, I was on over how good this food was, but in my mind, Monday was still coming, and I didn't know what that looked like. So I just settled my soul and tried to live in the moment. We got home early Saturday afternoon with the food in tow, and we just enjoyed each other's company. It felt amazing. So, just leave that part right there. I was in a broken place, and I was still writing. I was still just writing the story as it in real time, and my life has been played out in real time for so long, and I've gone through so much, and for so long, Bree has told me that there's another side, and every time that I would throw another level of these pits at her and these bottoms on her, it would just be like I would know for sure. Like, look, I know we said divorce is not an option, but this is gonna be the one where she's gonna say no, like we're done. But she's always told me there's another side to this. There's another side to your pain. There's victory. There's destiny. There's purpose. Just look, that positive. She's been a positive force of light and inspiration and motivation and love into me and into my brokenness as a man, helping me get to a place where I could become a restored man. And then all of the things, all of the attributes, all of the things that she saw in me, even in my brokenness, she knew that inside of there was a man of God. There was somebody who has the capability to change the world and change people's lives, but he has to just go through these things. He has to go through this journey in order to truly find who he is. And thanks be to God that I have found who I am. I have found my purpose. I have found my calling to the world. And I know that over these last 3.5 years, as God has been repurposing me and building me back to be who he's called me to be, I'm here to change the world. I'm here taking my stand, being the king who God has called me to be. not just for my life, not just for my family's life, but for your life as well. So folks, I love you. Peace.